Hello friends, and welcome to the channel, where we delve into the mind of a villain. In this entry, we'll be taking a look at Zaheer, the main antagonist of Book 3 of the Legend of Korra. Like the other villains in the series, Zaheer was a person of extreme political ideologies, wanting to create a new world order that would fit his concept of a natural societal state. Quite simply, he was an anarchist, one who believed in the abolition of all government and authority. Misguided as he was, it was this mindset that caused Zaheer to see himself as the hero in his quest to eliminate the Avatar. A skilled warrior, but with no bending abilities, Zaheer has seen his share of battles, with a scar across one of his brows and the state of his ravaged ears a possible indication of frequent close combat. Before his time in prison, Zaheer was a member of the White Lotus, a secret society known for sharing knowledge across the four nations. While the events that transpired were not specifically stated, it would seem that in his past, Zaheer became disillusioned with the state of the worldly governments, likely due to some tragedy, either personal or observed. At the very least, Zaheer would have witnessed the cruelty inflicted on others, having saved his combustion-bending lover from becoming a warlord's killing machine. And with no shortage of examples of the failure of the authorities, from the Fire Lord's massacre and the oppression of the current Earth Queen, it's understandable why Zaheer would be critical of all leadership. In Zaheer's view, the White Lotus had lost their purpose, reduced to being mere servants of the Avatar and glorified bodyguards. Together with another leader, Zaheer would break off from the White Lotus and become part of the Red Lotus, a sub-society that prides itself on being everything its white counterpart was supposed to be. In his attempt to topple the worldly authorities, Zaheer would target the Avatar, arguably the most critical world leader responsible for keeping the nations in balance, and also the one person most likely to stop him in his mission. He and his team would target a young Korra, striking while she was still weak and defenseless. He was stopped, and for 13 years he was imprisoned. It was said that throughout those years in prison, Zaheer and his team, who were held in other cells, never cracked under the weight of repeated interrogation. Zaheer has a stoic and calm personality for the most part and appears to be emotionally stable. This is likely attributed to the years of introspection and meditation that was abundant during his stint in prison. But a greater contributing factor would be Zaheer's lifelong interest in the philosophy of the air nomads, particularly a guru named Lahima, whose advice was to let go and untether oneself from the world, to experience true freedom like the wind. After the events of the harmonic convergence, Zaheer would coincidentally develop the ability to airbend. In his confirmation bias, Zaheer mistakenly assumes that this was a gift bestowed onto him, as a sign to assure him that the path he is on is a righteous one. Combined with his knowledge of the air nomads, he quickly became adept with his new skill, breaking himself and his team to resume their mission of restoring world order by abolishing all governments. In his conversation in the spirit realm with Korra, Zaheer airs his beliefs against all authority, citing the atrocities that both past and present governments have committed with their abuse of power. In Zaheer's eyes, true freedom only comes when all structure of authority is removed. Man was not made to be ruled by any government, and that the natural order is disorder. His hunt for the Avatar leads him to the Earth Kingdom, where he ends the tyrannical rule of the Earth Queen. After which, he proceeds to give the city back to the people, tearing down the dividing wall that separates the rich and the poor, and watches as the city descends into chaos. It is here that we get a further glimpse into Zaheer's personality. He appears to have somewhat of a humble stance, as seen when he chooses not to reveal his name as the city's liberator, saying that his name doesn't matter. And while Zaheer does resort to violence, he only reserves it for those who are directly opposed to him. He is not unreasonably violent and has no ill will toward the common man, as seen when he stops the waterbender from hurting the initially uncooperative radio operator. Eventually, Zaheer would reach the full stage of Guru Lahima's enlightenment, when his last earthly tether of his romantic relationship was gone. With no more earthy attachments, he becomes like the wind, acquiring the ability to fly. But although he is untethered, Zaheer is still bound by the era of his misguided ideals, the most obvious one being that the lethal methods he chooses to use betray the philosophy of the air nomads that he so admires. Air nomads don't kill, not even animals, hence their vegetarian diet. This was a key struggle that the previous avatar had to face in defeating the Phoenix King. Zaheer also claims to free the world of oppression, yet he himself uses methods that oppress others, when he kidnaps all the air nomads and threatens to eliminate them if Korra doesn't surrender herself. Perhaps he justifies this oppression as fighting fire with fire, or when he claims that new growth cannot exist without first the destruction of the old. As for the natural order being disorder, one can clearly see that just because something is natural does not mean it is the best outcome. It's highly questionable, as historically, humans always congregate into groups for survival, progressing from tribes to villages to cities. Naturally, leaders from these groups will always emerge. Even animals also have leaders in their respective groups. Not to mention, Zaheer himself is also a leader in his group, with the four of them representing a mini-society. At the end, Zaheer is quite simply a misguided madman, one who misunderstands the supposed wisdom of the teachings he professes, taking them out of context, and applying them in ways that accomplish the exact opposite. He was right about one thing, that those in authority have no right to abuse their power to oppress others. However, the way he sought to correct this injustice makes him no better than those he despises. So what do you think of Zaheer, folks? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and take care.